Yes, okay. Well, you talk a muckle in the tatty or twa. You hear a bit of goose grease, throw that in and all. Then you would soak it in your roaster till it's smelling raw. Oh, you're on your way to market Stovies. With turkey, chicken, ham and brisket, or sausage, corn dog if you wish it. You just throw it in your roaster till you feel you want to kiss it, and you're well on your way to market Stovies. Now the tatties and the onions and the meat and the gravy, you put them in the big pot boiling doon where your bonnet backer is, and sing the Stovie tune, and you're well on your way to market Stovie. Oh, aye. Oh, aye, that's the Stovies. Welcome to one roving cook.
So here we have Watt Nicoll and myself down in they said Irvine Valley.
This is the Irvine Valley, New Milnes, Irvine Valley, Ayrshire.
Ayrshire. And it's a lovely day out there, would you use a lovely day in Ayrshire?
It's always a lovely day in Ayrshire. Listen, at the age I'm at, another day above ground, that's a lovely day.
Now tell me, what are you going to do for us today?
We're going to show the secrets, you know. I mean, if my granny was around, she would never forgive me. The secrets of Stovies, real Stovies. No the Stovies that you got the fancy chefs doing. This is the real bossy,
real McCoy.
Real bossy, stick to your rib stuff. Aye.
Fantastic. Well, let's let you crack on and tell everybody what's involved.
Stovies traditionally really came from a background of poverty, so it was whatever was available, it was whatever was inexpensive. Now let's be honest, it was whatever was cheap. So much so it was basically potato, because everything was down to what could you get plenty of without spending too much money? Spuds. And so I thought I would keep the tradition going. I actually chose a day in the supermarket when I got my spuds at a reduced price. So you need some spuds. You need a big onion, or as they would say over on the East Coast, a big onion. Now this is very, that's basic. Then if it was in season, you would need a wee neep, a bit of turnip to put in, or carrot, or whatever vegetable was available. And that was it. You do require, I've got here a bit prepared onion, you see, but they all start out that size, so I've found over the years. A little bit of meat, whatever is available. I've got a wee bit of pork here. Pork is inexpensive at the moment, so I chose that. But you could use a bit of sliced sausage, or if you really wanted to get the ultimate Stovie, a goose, a wee bit of goose, because the goose has lots of grease and you need a lot of fat. This is not considered a healthy dish, but my God, it's very nice to eat. So I have a wee bit of beef dripping here, which was, and you don't want to do this in oil. You want to do this with if you've got a good roast, get the dripping off the roast, and you would make your gravy with that. Because basically all we're going to do is chop the onion down. We're going to tenderise the potatoes, half boil them as it were, and the real secret is in the word Stovies, because you have to stove everything. You stove your onions, you stove your meat, you stove your tatties. So it's a wee bit labour intensive. Okay, now this is probably, it should be self-explanatory. Stovies, you stove everything. Every ingredient goes into the pan and is stoved. And then we do a big boil down, That's when we all get excited, because Stovies are coming when you get to that stage. But at this point, we stove it. Now, when you stove it, it's your constant attention. I must say one thing about Stovies is it's labour intensive. It's not one of these things that you throw on and walk away, because we have a little saying when making Stovies: if it's brown, it's braw, and if it's black, it's buggered. So you have to watch it very carefully. Well, I'm doing a wee bit of onion here first of all, because onion just gives it that. It just gets a bit of flavour into it. There's something about onion that it's Scottish as far as I'm concerned. Everything has to be Scottish or it's not for my palate. So I apologise for those from distant shores. This is all about Stovies. So I am stoving the onion just now. I'm just watching it until I see that colour change. Don't want it to actually, and with the onion I don't even want brown. I just want to get that slight colour coming into the onion, and then we would move on to the potato, or the tatties as we would say. These onions, or if I do it in the vernacular, these onions are just coming up nice coloured now. Aye. So we would now go on to the most essential of all ingredients, the tatties. And as we add the spuds to the pan, you get that lovely. I love this bit. And again, we stove them. We just virtually stove them. I think the modern term would be sauté or tortillas, but we just stove them, and that's quite a simple, straightforward thing. Again, watching that you don't overdo it. This thing with potatoes, any real patriotic Scot would know how to cook potatoes, because it's such a natural thing for us to have. We get the potatoes in every shape and form, get them mashed, you get them boiled, you get them chipped, of course. You do so much with potatoes, but this was probably the most basic way of using it. And you must understand, Stovies, and you get all the stuff we get now about what's the right meat for the Stovies and how long do you cook it and whatnot. And let me tell you some very honest and basic about Stovies. It was made with leftovers and what was cheap, whatever you could get your hands on. The Stovies was originally a bothy meal. There was always tatties, there was always potato available, and onions, somehow or other, we always had onions. We used to have these Frenchmen came over with onions hanging off their bikes and selling them. I never understood who bought them, because we grew our own onions, you know. But anyway, if you want a French onion, put it in. I don't think there's any harm in doing that. But we had plenty of potatoes, and we always seemed to have onion. And you could put any other vegetable, root vegetables. A bit of turnip, neep was great. I mean, let's face it, Rabbie is celebrated every year with haggis, tatties and neep. So a wee bit of turnip in it, you know, very, very nice. I believe that these television chefs and not would prefer sweet potato, you know, but we don't grow sweet potatoes in this part of the world, pal, so we put in neep, right? So you would brown that off as well, and we've just got to watch this, make sure you get these turned so that we are not really taking any, nah, it's coming away nice. That's coming away quite nice. I'm a great believer, you see, that I have the occasional Chinese meal, very nice, very tasty, something a wee bit different, even the occasional kurma, so I am not a curry man. But I think that when I look around at how life has gone for me, I've lived a very active life, I've travelled a lot, etc. But I've really, health-wise, I've always had bags of energy. And it's because I reckon I predominantly eat what is available in the region I was born in and spent most of my life living in. Away. But let me just, before I just put these tatties into the big pot for the boil down, let me just say, two things I reckon have got me through two major times in my life. As a teenager, I was unfortunate enough to be touched by the plague, tuberculosis, which was a killer at the time. I went into Ashludy Sanatorium for 14 months. Most of the people that I made contact with there died, and that was expected of me too. But I had this special person in my life. My role model was my father's brother, my Uncle Eck. My Uncle Eck had been in the war, which of course made him a hero in a wee boy's eyes straight away. And he'd lost an eye, and he wore a black leather patch on his eye. I mean, it was a striking figure of a man. He played the pipes. He'd been a pipe major in the army band, and when he came out, he would wear the kilt and this black eye patch. But most of all, most impressive to me, was he worked as a gamekeeper, and he had found this golden eagle chick. And I think the poor bird had its wings had been damaged, and therefore it sat on his shoulder. It grew to be a full-sized golden eagle. Could you imagine this man with this black leather patch and his pipes under his arm and a golden eagle on his shoulder? Oh, I wanted to be like my Uncle Eck. I believed every word that came out of that man's mouth. And when I went down with the TV, he used to send my mother in with a vacuum flask of toddy, and I was made to drink it. And my reluctance gradually went as I developed the taste for it. But most of the others I met, streptomycin came on the scene, and that might have had something to do with it. But the others died and I didn't. And the only difference I could say was the toddy, and then when I came out, the Stovies. I eat predominantly food that has been produced in the country I was born in. This is for we Scots. So let's get the tatties in now for the Bildun. The meat now. So I'm now going to stove the final ingredient, which is the meat that goes into this. And as I said, it doesn't really matter what it is. There's a lot of people will argue, but this goes on all over Britain, not just about stovies. I mean, what's the best meat to put in a Lancashire hot pot? What does an Irish stew consist of? Oh, we know if there is no limit to the money, if you're financially in that position, then oh yes, we'll go for the top cut of meat. But all of these things came out of poverty, hard times. You know, I've had a few talks with a few. I'm putting the meat in here now, and today I'm doing a wee bit of pork there. Pork's at a good price just now. I don't know why, but hey, why? Look, a gift horse in the mouse. This is not about a horse, by the way. This is about a pig. And so let's start the stoving here. And you know, all this thing about what is the best meat and whatnot, do always remember it's whatever was available and whatever suits your palate. I've got to say I've had many a good pot of stovies made with just a few scraps of sliced sausage or something, because that's all that was affordable at the time. All of my boys would tell you, we didn't know what it was, we just knew it tasted good. And here in Scotland, we do have kind of cold winters, you know. Now, I think the climate in Scotland is fantastic. You get the best of everything, and I've travelled a lot, and I must say the best bit of travelling for me, I've travelled all over the world, and always getting back to Scotland and you come from sunny climes. My wife is a sun worshipper, so I've done a few holidays where we go away and the sun is beating down on you, and you get on a plane and you arrive here and you come out and it's bitter cold. And well, you know, you can get on the winter woolies and that, you know, the thick drawers and all that stuff, but nothing like a good bowl full of stovies. Lots of dripping in it or fat, and get the warmth from the inside working it. And I've had all sorts of conversations about what is the best, you know, about poverty feeding and all the rest of it. I can remember having actually a wee television conversation with the big one, with Billy Connolly. Billy and I used to share a lot. We worked in the folk scene in Scotland for a long time, and we in the same circuit. We were close buddies at one time. But Billy and I had a conversation that was very private between us. And it was, we tried to convince everybody that we came for the poorest parentage. You know, now, my parents were horrified when I used to go on about that, but we spoke openly about that. Billy always crowned it by saying that it was important to impress the neighbours, so that they used to buy good stuff and put it in the bin to make the neighbours think they were well off. That was Billy's story. It's hard to follow one like that. But I used to tell them that we had a chest of drawers, and the bottom drawer was taken out and meticulously scrubbed clean every week. And then my mother made a massive pot, I need to watch this meat here, massive pot of porridge, and it was allowed to set. And then for the whole week we got slices of porridge fried in the morning, you got porridge for your piece, you got porridge sometimes on the plate with tatties. Porridge was, Billy said I made that up. I'll leave you to decide for yourself. I don't think his folks put good stuff in the bin either, but there you go, there were two good stories. But the best one I heard about poverty, you'll notice, I'm just keep my eye on this, because this is very important. You don't want to actually cook all the flavour out. I just want to release the natural fats here, because I want to save them off for the big bile down. I met this Irishman, and we were talking about all this stuff about food that we now see as the delicacy that when we were kids were a necessity. And I've got to say this one time, he says, but have you ever had potato and point? And I went, no, I've never had potato and point. What is potato and point? Being Irish, you're never quite sure whether it's going to be a right ghoster or not. He says, well, we were so poor, but my dad was the only worker in the house, and he had to get the good meat in him. So all we could afford was a very small bit of meat. And all my mum did was boil up a big pot of tatties, and we all got a plate, as much tatties as you could eat. And she would hang the bit of meat up there on the pulley above the table. And you put your fork in a big totty, and you pointed it at the meat and visualised what it would be like. Potato and point. Well, I've got to say, we were never quite that poor. The father got a bit of beef over there in Ireland, but we always got some kind of meat, and sometimes I wonder what it was. You've got some delicacies now, for instance. I've had stovies made with rabbit. There you go. In the meantime, you've got, this is just coming up to where I don't want to take it any further, so I am going to tip this in with the tatties and the onion, and then I'm going to add a wee bit gravy. So here we go, here we go, here we go. This is looking good. Whoa, isn't it all that? Sizzle there as I put this into there. And once I've got that, I'm now going to just turn away and add the final little bit of magic. This is the secret that we never tell anybody about. But hey, you're not just anybody. So I'm going to get my gravy, which I have prepared in advance. I'm going to pour this in over all this, just until it comes slightly above, because I'm going to boil that out, you understand. And once you get that in, then we have the pot all ready to go for the big boil down. And when we reach that stage, here is the secret. You have to turn your bonnet back at least, or it doesn't work. No, okay. If you don't want to believe that, you make it without a bonnet and see what happens. I, personally, am looking forward to see what happens here. In fact, can't wait. Oh, here comes the Stovies. Just let me through there, guys.
Oh, yes.
There you go. And if we just do this, wonderfully designed so you burn your hands as you, and well, this is Stovies.
Yeah,
this is Stovies. Are you ready for this?
Yes, yes.
Just a wee one for you, Helen.
Of course.
Just a wee one for you, darling. How's that?
All right.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, beauty.
So tell me what, are you enjoying your Stovies?
I'm absolutely loving the Stovies. I always love the Stovies. I mean, they're lifesavers for me. I mean, we were having a conversation with Kerr, being one of my three sons, is the only one. All my sons think they're great cooks. And I would have to say I agree with them in most time, but my other two sons have always challenged me and said they make better Stovies than me, which I say, none can be. Now, I've just said to Kerr, you've never challenged me. Why? Kerr, what was your response?
I know my place. Okay, so I was just making the comparison between my father's Stovies and Rory's Stovies, his son, and you know, because Rory's Stovies just don't come close. They just don't come close at all.
Helen, now
Yes.
you've had Stovies made by me on a few occasions, yes?
Yes.
How does this one measure up?
Marvellous, as usual. And in fact, even better than usual.
But apart from that, what did you
Wonderful.
well done, darling. That's Nicola. Bearing in mind that I am going to pass my opinion on your Carnican very shortly, what's your opinion of my Stovies?
They're amazing. I love the Watt Stovies. Love Watt Stovies. Is that all right to say? I'm stressed out.